Awesome. So this week, I wanted to just, where are we? What's going on? It's crazy. We are in week 6. No, I made it mad. We are in week 6. So we are talking about, obviously, we're going to do some After Effects today and play with, just briefly, we're going to do just very skimming the surface of After Effects. And then next week, we actually are going to shift gears again into web design. Lindsay and I were just talking this morning. Lindsay does the other section, and it feels like we get into something and then we switch in this class. And that really is sort of the case with this class. We try and give you some, intro to a couple different things. But we're going to switch into web design next week, and we actually will spend the rest of the semester in web design. Because of all the things we do, it's probably the most complicated and the most time consuming to learn. So we will start that next week, and you will have, your video will be due next Friday. And I had a couple questions on the video, so I wanted to pull up just a real quick sort of facts, and I put this in the assignment sheet as well on Carmen. But just a couple things on the videos. We talked about them, but I wanted to bring it up again. Little things like, we want at least 30 seconds of it to be moving image in your video. So not just all photos. You can use photos, that's fine, but please have some moving image. Play with transition, add some text, even if your basic text is an intro with your name, so we know whose video it is. But a little bit of text, please. Some type of audio at some point. It can be someone else talking or you talking, a voiceover, but we want to hear a voice at some point. You can also do music. Obviously, I'll say it again, and I feel weird having to say this, but use Premiere to make your video. I say it, but I had somebody last year use iMovie, even after we spent like 3 weeks in Premiere. So please use Premiere to make your video. We are showing you After Effects today. You do not have to use After Effects. If you want to and you want to try it, I'm all for it, and we'll help you with it. But if you're like, that's too much, that's fine. I just want you to see what After Effects is. Somebody had asked, does it have to be your own stuff? No, it does not have to be your own stuff. It can be B-roll. Please, obviously you're going to be putting this up on YouTube and sharing with me. Please make sure that you're not stealing images and video from others. Use the free stuff that we've posted up in the resources on Carmen. And then a couple people I know I've had discussions with in terms of what is the video on. And the easiest thing is obviously to make it related to either your app or your website, what it's going to be. And then sort of following story format, maybe yours is let's say a club you're in. So that doesn't really match the story arch format, and that's fine. Maybe think of it as like the message house format, where there's like a couple points you really want to get across about the organization. And then, have those be your 3 main points, but have some, as you go through the video, some pieces or bits of knowledge or images that help reiterate those sort of 3 points. So when we say it needs to be a story, I'm saying story loosely defined. Does anybody have any questions on the video? Any concerns, thoughts that you have that you're wondering about? Oh, Paley, I just read your comments, so I think hopefully I just answered it without even reading your comments. The rubric, I realized right before class, I posted these little FAQs up on the assignment sheet, and I realized the rubric is not on there for some reason. So I will make sure that rubric pops open and you can see it. But any other questions or thoughts on it?
Dr. Buck, is this basically the rubric, though, what we just went over?
Essentially, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the difference in the rubric is just, professionalism, that it actually has, it flows. It's not just very an abrupt moving from thing to thing. But I think essentially this is just expanding it out a little bit more. Other thoughts, questions? Okay. As you know, you're always welcome to ask questions away. Please, feel free, text, email, message, however you want, any questions. Other announcements that I wanted to bring up before we jump into After Effects. This week, like I said, next week the video is due. The following week, our client website proposal will be due. And that is really just like a 2-page bulleted, this is what my website's going to be. So if you catch that on the syllabus, don't panic. We'll talk about that next Tuesday. It shouldn't be too much, and we'll do a little bit in class to help you even start writing it. So don't panic if you see that. The other thing, this week, Thursday, we typically have office hours during class on Thursday, and I'll email this out, but I'm not going to have office hours this week. I know this is probably very selfish and crazy, but it is actually my 40th birthday on Thursday, and my gift to myself is going to sleep in because I'm old and tired. I apologize if that's ridiculous, but sometimes you got to do stuff for yourself. So here's your lesson in life. There's got to be some balance between life and work. But that being said, I want to be available to you. So if you do want to chat about anything, please shoot me a text, email, and we can meet at just a different time. Okay. So I just won't be logged on. Last week, nobody logged on and joined me anyways, but I'm always there, but this week I won't. Okay. So just let me know if you have any questions or thoughts or concerns. So this week, there are tutorials to do for Thursday, just like we normally would. I have zoomed in on Carmen and it looks really weird all of a sudden. There is just 2 short tutorials. I'll pull this up here real quick. One is doing a quick copy. The other one is creating some animated text. And you'll see with it, it's sort of, there's actually like a couple little things. They each take just a couple minutes. There's 4 little ones and then 1 other. They're all really quick, should be fun. And what we're gonna do today is very similar to what these are, so they shouldn't be too bad. The other one is a little fun type thing that I wanted to share with you. This is actually how you duplicate. So what you're actually going to do, there's only 1 ship in the video they give you. You're actually going to add this other ship. So this is showing you After Effects. You can almost think of After Effects as the Photoshop of video, because it can clone, it can take things out, it can really do a lot more advanced stuff over what Premiere's photo and video editing can do, or like image editing can do. So those are those 2. If you have questions, the videos, I've gone through those a couple times. They seem pretty straightforward, but if anybody's having problems with the tutorial, let me know. I can try and redo it somehow. But I think they say it probably better than I can on these couple ones. So, all right. So this week, I want to jump into After Effects here. So open up After Effects. And I'll wait here for a second so everybody can populate their After Effects. This is sad. This is how tired I am, guys. I have to get like the extra large Diet Coke on the way to work every morning. Children are tiring. So like I said, After Effects, there's a bunch of different things you can do with After Effects, but what's neat about After Effects is you can actually bring in Photoshop files, you can bring in Illustrator files. So if you are proficient in that software, you can bring in a Photoshop native or an Illustrator native file, and After Effects will actually read the layers. So you can animate something for video using something you've created in one of those. But this also allows you to do some stuff for Premiere as well. And that's what we're going to play with. So I'm gonna, if you get After Effects up, give me a thumbs up so I know who's all got it. Okay. Awesome. And what we're gonna do today, I'm gonna walk you through some things, but we are really more than anything just gonna play today. So if you get a tiny bit behind, you should be okay. Oh, wait. Oh, I was waiting on Lindsay, but Lindsay's actually sitting in my office right here. So I guess I don't need to wait on Lindsay. I didn't see her thumbs up. Brianna, are you good? Are you just sort of following along? Okay. So when you get to After Effects, the default little sort of preview window right now allows you to create a composition from some footage. But over here on the left, like we've seen every time, new project, open project, we're just gonna do a new project. So if you just wanna hit new project, and this is typically what you would then see from After Effects when you open up the file, this is the default window. If yours doesn't look like this, you can go up across the top to Window, Workspace, and just make sure you're on all panels and reset, and it'll reset to just the general workspace. So if you're like, wait a minute, all of a sudden mine's looking weird, that is a way to reset. But what you'll see here, it's similar to Premiere in that across the bottom, you've got your timeline that you're working with. You've got your, what they call your composition here in the main screen. And then they've sort of, this project over here sort of shows you some of your things that you may be importing, but it shows some of your layers. What you're gonna see is this works a lot like the animated title thing that we did last, did we do it last week? I think last week for our tutorials. It works exactly the same as that, essentially. So if that sort of made some sense, this is gonna make a lot of sense. But you've got two options. You can make a new composition or a new composition from footage. This new composition is if you're gonna bring in some imported video. We're not going to right now, we're just gonna do a new composition. And it's gonna say, okay, what settings do you want? I'm just gonna name this title for fun. Your preset, you can leave that at that default. Your width, height, all of that sort of defaulting is fine. The only thing you might want to change is your background color if you had a reason to change that, but you don't need to. And frame rate, this frame rate is 29, is about a second a frame. So, or it's about a frame per second. So that's good. But so defaulting, all of that, perfect. And you click OK. And what it does is it brings up the same type of little screen that you see in Photoshop when you are creating something in Photoshop, right? It gives you that transparent background. What you'll see is it gives us sort of that composition. And so we can have multiple compositions or multiple pieces to our composition. Across the top, you'll see there's a little home, your selection tool, hand, zoom. You have a rectangle tool, and if you click on hold on that, you'll see you've also got the rounded, the ellipse, the polygon, and the star tool. So this is very similar. If you've ever used Illustrator, it's similar to Illustrator in those tools that it has. You do have a pen tool that you can draw a line if you'd like. You've got your text tool. And then very similar to Photoshop, you've got a brush tool and a clone stamp tool and eraser tool. And then we've got some things that are a little different. This is a roto brush tool. We're not gonna mess with these. And the puppet position pin tool. We won't necessarily mess with those quite as much. This puppet position tool actually allows you to move people and make them move around, but we're not gonna go that far. We're just gonna play with text for right now. So if you wanna do text, click on your text tool and then just click inside your composition screen here, and it'll give you your cursor. And then you'll notice down at the bottom, it gives you across that timeline, sort of where your text is. So I'm gonna just type in, for fun, I'm gonna just type my name. And now you'll see, I can highlight it, but if yours types off like mine, you grab the selection tool, move it back over. But what I can do is over on the right, you guys have seen these before, under character, I can change my font. Shows me what my font might look like if I change a different font. So play with that. You can change the color of your font. I'm gonna try and find a red. Okay. You've got everything regular, bold. You can change size, line spacing. You can, down across this bottom here, you've also got where you can make everything capital or capital little, or you can just go back to regular if you want. So you can play with those if you want. The other thing you'll see above character here in the panels on the right is you have a line. So this is your align if you want to align it in your frame somehow. I can play with my alignment there. All right, so you've got align character, and then you also have paragraph here, which allows you to change your alignment within your text. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my arrow tool. This is, you know, basic text editing, right? What we start doing though is down here on the bottom, you'll see you've got the eyeball, which you can click that on and off, it shows it, but there's a little drop arrow right before the little color block. And if you click on that, you'll see that it has text and it has transform. If I click on transform and click the down, all of a sudden you should see something down here in the bottom left that looks like what we did in Premiere last week. You've got position, scale, rotation, opacity, and it's got these little time clocks, okay? And so what you can do is, let's say I want to play with my position. Maybe I want this to start, I want it to start way up at the top. And so I go to position and I can click on this little clock and say, give me a starting position there. And you'll see it puts a little diamond on the timeline. Very similar to what we did with the other software. Now I can move it one way or another. Nope, sorry, take that back. Sorry, somebody knocked on my door. So if I start there, I can then take my playhead down. So maybe I want this to take 20 seconds or so. And I can move my name, maybe even almost off of the screen. And I can set a new piece there, okay? So once I've done that, it sets a new keyframe is what it's called, sorry. And essentially all I do then is play it. I can press, let's ask my friend. I can press play, or I can press the space bar, and you'll see that it moves, okay? So very basic. I made it really slow. I made it go 20 seconds. So that's just positioning it. I can do the same thing. Maybe here I want it to go back up, so I could have it go, I could move my thing and then I could make it go back, but go back really fast. So it goes slow and then it zooms back up. So you can play with your timeline to move things around, you know, whether that's text. We did it with text. We can do it with a shape. You could do it with a picture. But you've got position there, you've got scale, so I can make things bigger or smaller. I can rotate things, and I can make things go opacity, all right? And so you're gonna play with that some with the tutorial this week. You're gonna play around with that a little bit more. Did that work for everybody? Did I go too fast? like I said, it's very similar to what we did last time. All right. The other things we can do, I'm just going to move this out of the way. I need to quit doing that. Pull it back up right here. The other things I wanted to show you is over here on the right, we looked at paragraph and character. The other is effects and presets. And this is one where you can really play. This is where you've got all of the sort of preset effects that you can put onto pictures, shapes, name, any of that. So if you want to, you can leave this on here, or if you want to click on that layer there, if you want to delete, take it away, you can hit delete and take it away. So if you want to start with something fresh, or you can leave it. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete mine, just so we have a blank screen here because we're just playing. And I'm going to draw a square. So I'm going to use my square tool and just draw a square. And you'll see it gives me something similar except for text. Instead of text this time, it's a shape layer. I still have transform down here. I have rectangle, which means I can change my fill and my stroke. So I can change the color of it over time if I wanted, is all that means. And then the transform is the same things: position, scale, rotation, and opacity. But here, if I want to change what I want this to look like from the get-go, notice that you have fill across the top and stroke. So I can click on my fill and change the color. Maybe I want it to be not that ugly color here, maybe like a gray. And maybe I want my stroke to be a maroon. And then right now it's at 15. I can actually make that a higher number if I wanted it to be. Okay. So nothing too crazy there, just a square. And then I'm going to go to my move tool, which if you want the shortcut to go to your move tool, if you hit the letter V, it'll change you to your arrow, or you can go up to the tools and click on the arrow. But what I'm going to do is over here in my effects, I can do some fun things. You know, I can distort it. So if I click distort, and some of these, I just want you to play, okay? You don't have to follow me per se, but I want you to play with some of these. So like, let's say, trying to pick a good one. Sometimes I pick these and they don't do what I want. So maybe I click bulge. So I'll click it and drag it, and I'll drop it onto that shape layer. And what I can do is if I move that, you'll see it's going to do it for me. Let's see. Bulge doesn't want to work for me. All right, that effect's not working for me, so maybe not bulge. I'm trying to think of one that works really well that you can see easily, of course. Let's try maybe slant. If I pull slant down. You'll see when you do this, the effects here sort of start piling up here. So what I can do is on the slant, I can set my start of the slant there. I can pull this back and I can slant it. So I can change the number there, or I can pull it this way and slant it and have a new keyframe. So where it'll start slanting and moving because I moved it a little bit. So these, you know, a bulge was here. So if I wanted it to bulge in the center or bulge height, you just sort of play with these. And as you get to know the different ones, you can, so it looks like my bulge center here is not, me and bulge are not working well together today. But there's a bunch of different ones here. So you can like ripple, reshape, some of these work better on different things. You'll see that not under Stort, you've got under text, there's different things like numbers and time code. There's some stylizing ones where I can change brush strokes. What's really cool and the ones that you may really want to use are these animated presets, which is the very top one. And if I click on animated preset, if I go to like shapes, I've got different things. So like I've got backgrounds, elements. So maybe I want a 60s text bar. I can bring that down to my timeline and it changes what I have, honestly, to a 60s text bar. All right, and since I've already played with slant, it's gonna go ahead and slant it for me. So it pre-changes my shape. That's the beauty of those animated presets. If I don't want that vertical, I can always click on those. So if you don't want one of those, you can click on the stopwatch again and make it go away. And you can always also, if I don't want those effects, I can delete them. I can just click on it and hit delete. So I can make a 60s text bar. I can, not sure what a ring chart. And I can change the shape of that. So there's a bunch of different like weird shapes and things that you can pre-play with. And with this, you can see that I can go down here and like the stroke on part of it is white. I can change that stroke and change it over time, or I can just change it all together. Maybe I want, see if it makes it to where you can see it. Probably not. Yeah, so there's my strokes that I'm playing with. So you can, it's got a bunch of different fun little effects that you can do and add with your shapes. You also have images. So if we brought in an image and we needed to crop it or flip it, you could use one of these and drag it down onto that image. And you can import images just like you do in any other Adobe software. If I find my mouse. Under File, Import, I can just bring in a photo or video. But I can, you know, flip, and I could actually flip this, but you're not going to really see any big difference because, yeah, it's not going to flip anything because it's just that. There are backgrounds. So I changed the background of that, made it look like a circuit. Can make it look like cinders. So you can play with some of these things as well. Curtains. So I'm adding a different background to my shape. And what you'll see is the effect controls all show up over here as well on the left. So I can play with those colors and things, but not, it doesn't change it there necessarily on the timeline. So this one's moving. Abby asked about jumping into Premiere, and I'm going to show you how to do that in 1 second, because that's definitely, we don't want to do any of this without it actually helping us in our videos, right? But this, you know, with After Effects, like I said, I just want you to see what it can do, and the tutorials this week are going to walk you through doing this timeline just a little bit more, and it's going to walk you through using the clone stamp. But, you know, for just learning and just playing with what you're doing right now, you know, playing with just some of these animated presets on different things, whether it's a logo or a photo. I will, actually, I'm going to delete this. Maybe I'm going to delete my shape layer if it'll let me. I'm going to do something. You guys don't have to follow along and do this if you don't want to, but I'm going to actually real quick import, I'm going to import a video real quick. This is one of our lectures, so it's not real exciting, but I'm going to import it real fast and put it, I'm just going to click and have it there. And the reason I'm showing you this is I wanted you to see that under Image Special Effects, I can take this and put on bad TV warp. And now when I play it, it's last a little hard to see. Last time we, let me mute it because we don't want to listen to me. You can see it sort of warps it. So you can do this to video clips as well. Cracked tiles. So you can do something to a video, you can do it to an image, however you would want to. And again, all of these allow you to do them and change them as you go down the timeline. So if you want to change how the cracked tile, how it's cracking at different times, you can. So this is a very complex software that we could spend weeks on, a whole semester on. I think Art may even have a whole class on After Effects because it's very much like Photoshop in that it's very complex. But if you use some of these animated presets and play around a little bit, you can do some pretty neat things just playing around with text and shapes and some transformation things. So the question then is, if I do this, let's say I've wanted to put, maybe I don't want, and I'm gonna go back. I just want this sort of old warping TV look to my video. I want it to like warp like it's an old video somehow. If I want to move that into Premiere, it's really easy. All I do is I can go up to File and Export. And you can export this as an Adobe Pro Premiere project. So I can move this into Premiere as is, and we can add stuff to it, or I can add it to, you know, a render queue to where it's like just a file that I can add into mine. But if I export it into Premiere, you'll see it saves it as a Premiere project. If I export it to render, it will save it and then save it as like a .mov that I can then put into my project that I've already done. Okay, so this will take a little bit longer because it's gonna like collapse it and push it all together, where if we pull it into Premiere, it's saving some of the layers and things. All right, so you can, and what's nice is when you move this in, so if I wanted to have, let's say I had left that, just the little name tag and the animation of that name tag, I can create that here as a name tag, save it, and render it and put it on top of the video I already have. You'll see there's also some transitions and things. So the same thing, you can save a type of transition and move it into After Effects, or into Premiere to play with. Okay. And you'll see that this takes a while. I think all of you saw the last couple times that saving video and exporting video takes a while. This takes it even longer because you're doing more layers, and it's taking longer for it to render and compress and save that file. So it just takes it a little bit longer. And the other thing I did want to show you with this, if you start playing with this and you really enjoy it, we've got you doing 2 tutorials on Adobe. Let me see if I can pull those up here real quick. So I've got you doing these 2 quick tutorials on Adobe, but I wanted you to see in After Effects, in the tutorials on Adobe, if you really think this is a cool tool and you want to keep playing, you can actually get to where you are using and making different animations. Like you can animate an object, this is a tutorial that makes you animate a balloon across the screen. I'm gonna have you guys do the clone stamp, but you can, they use this for green screening, and there is a great tutorial on here, I think it's working with compositions, that shows you how to pull something out of the green screen, or sorry, no, that's the visual effects one. You can pull something out of a green screen and like it shows you how to actually pull an element through a green screen. So I just wanted you to see that this is the software that they do a lot of that with. And it was one of those software I wish we had like weeks upon weeks to play with, but unfortunately we don't. So I'm gonna pause this because it's taking forever. I'm gonna stop it. I think I already, let me export this real quick as a Premiere, and I'll show you that it just opens up in Premiere. That might save a little quicker. I'll show you. While Premiere opens, thoughts, questions? I know I'm going really fast, but I'm not really wanting to show you step-by-step anything. I just want you to see I just want you to be aware of all of these different little tools and things. Premiere's gonna open really slowly on my computer today. My computer's saying Photoshop's open and After Effects is open. Why are you opening Premiere 2? So if I did, say I did a new project, I can then import, go to my desktop, I can import, so there is that little title that I started to save, so I can bring it in as a title, or I can bring it in as its whole project. If it's a whole project, it's going to be, I will have to build around it. But if I already had a project started, I would want to import it as that title.mov because I wouldn't want to have to, you don't want to bring two in together. And what it'll say is if you want the project, do you want just specific sequences or do you want like the entire project? So it's really nice in that it gives you some options there. And it's going to give me an error for some reason, but it brings in that video. And it should, no, it's going to give me a fight me just because others okay. You want there. So that is where I was fiddling and playing with it. So it's, I know that looks really weird, but that was the effect I did. So to make it look really weird. So, so that gives you the option to then, you know, play and create in After Effects. So like I said, there are some different things here, shapes, different types of ones that you can use, sprites, alien face, I don't know what that does. Don't know what alien face does. I've made it mad. Oh, I'm in my render, that's why. That's why it won't work if I'm in my render one. I can pull in alien face. Well, that's not going to work on a video. It's because it has to be on a shape. So you have to actually click on ones that make sense here. So I want you guys, hopefully you guys are just right now just playing, clicking and dragging and seeing which ones. So I made that shape into an alien face. And I can change the fill on it to blue. And I'm wondering, I guess he doesn't really move or do anything too exciting, but I could probably make him move by playing with some of these things. So alien face might not be what I want. Bullseye might be more what I want. So these give you some different things. Crosshair, if I wanted to have a crosshair in the middle, I wanted that on all of my videos. I can save this, set it up the way I want it. I can have it like move, and then I can put it on my video. So if you're doing a hunting video. So in terms of Illustrator, Abby, sorry, Abby, I know you're asking privately, but it helps to tell everybody. With Illustrator, there is I will tell you on the videos that Adobe has, they have one that walks you through exactly how to pull in the Illustrator layers. But essentially it is, you open up an illustration file and it'll preserve those layers. And so you'll see your layers here and down here. And so you'll be able to move different layers. So like if you had a logo, or if you had, you know, a cow and each leg was its own layer, you could do that. And actually, if you had like a cow animation, you can use this pin, puppet pin, and actually move its legs without even having each leg on a layer. So it's a very powerful software. When you watch movies, I would bet 90% of them are made using Premiere and After Effects. So this is the top of the line video software. And again, you do not need to use this for your assignment. I just wanted you to see it, to play with it, and just know that if somebody says, I really need you to put a crosshair on this video, you know what software you do it in, okay? Or flower power. See, there's just some fun things. If I, for some reason, need this and I need it multiple times all over, I can have it. I can copy and paste it and do multiple ones around. So with that, like I said, this week you're just playing. You will, like I said, the tutorials are sort of like 5 mini tutorials. You can put them all into one file, or you can upload 5 little mini ones. I'll make sure Kane gives you credit if you put them all into one. However you want to do that, but it's really just you playing with some of this techniques, okay? Questions, thoughts? Are you still all there? Okay. So next time, I will warn you, next time we're going to do something a little different because we're going to talk about how the web works. We're actually, I'm going to put you into groups next time, so you may actually want to pull up your screen. So this is fair warning that if you like want to do your hair that day or not wear pajamas, just a fair warning. You might want to see each other. Okay. Awesome. So remember, start working on your videos, due next Friday. This Thursday, we won't have office hours, but feel free to text me, email me, however, whenever, and I will help you through anything that you need on the tutorials for this week. Make sure you do the tutorials and the quiz. There's a few of you, I think everybody here on this is doing pretty good. I don't see anybody that I need to talk to on here, so you guys are doing great. With that, have a wonderful week. Thanks, Mallory. Everybody have a good week, and hopefully it stays nice weather for us this fall, and we'll be good. I'll talk to you guys next Tuesday live, okay? Bye all.
Oh, Dr. Buck, I had a question.